Welcome back to the Grizzly Brothers YouTube channel. Last year I had the opportunity to try out several pieces of new gear, and so today I'm going to shoot this video. I'm going to tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, and go over a review with you. And I'm going to give each piece of equipment a star rating. If you stick around to the end of the video, I got a special surprise for you. So let's get into it. Up first is the Minimo Jetboil cook system. The difference between this cook system and the traditional, like taller, slimmer Jetboil system is this one has a simmer control. And I really enjoyed using the simmer control, but I didn't use it very much. If you get sick of like your traditional freeze-dried meals, the typical stuff that we eat in the backcountry, this cook system gives you an opportunity to do stuff like macaroni and cheese.
Trying something new. This is pretty awesome. So, backcountry mac and cheese. This is oodles. If you've never heard of it, it's like high protein, high fiber. It's really, really good stuff. But I invested in the Jetboil Minimo system, so it has the simmer control. It takes a little longer to boil, but now I can do stuff like mac and cheese. So it's a break from the old Mountain House routine.
Anything that requires simmering or boiling for an extended amount of time, you can do with this cook system. This also allows you to cook wild game meat without having to have a skillet. You can just pop it in the Jetboil and then turn the heat down, do some simmering and some sauteing, things like that. So it kind of couples as a frying pan at the same time. Now, I will say the drawback to this unit is that it does take a little bit longer to boil water. The original Jetboil system only takes like 90 seconds to boil water for your freeze-dried meal. This takes about twice the amount of time, so it could take up to 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes to get your water boiled. So that's the only drawback. The weight is about the same, so it's not going to change your pack weight. Overall, I would give this one 4 stars. And the reason I'm giving it a 4-star rating is the fact that not everyone needs it. It's not a necessity. It's kind of a luxury feature. So if you're someone that's totally cool just doing freeze-dried meals, you're okay sticking with kind of a monotonous dining experience in the backwoods, you might not really like this because it's going to take a little bit longer to boil your water. It might just be a nuisance to you. But if you like variety, if you want to shake things up, give yourselves more options, I would say definitely go with the Minimo system. Next up is the GSI Microlite water bottle. This year, this thing was a game changer for me. We did a lot of hot weather hunting, and I was able to put water in this thing early in the morning when it was cold. And then come lunchtime, I would save it for lunch, pop it open, and I had cold water in the middle of the day, which was just amazing. When it was time to filter the water, get fresh water when we're out hiking, putting it in this bottle, it's still cold 3 hours later. You can't beat cold water on a hot day. So I really love using this. This is the first time I had ever used a bottle like this as my primary drinking method. Prior to this, I just used the traditional water bags, water bladders with the straw. The only thing I didn't like about this is the fact that it's only 33 ounces. I'm a big guy. I consume a lot of water in the backcountry, especially on those hot days. So I would drain this water bottle in no time. It would be really nice to have a larger option, even like a half gallon up to a gallon. If I can have that cold water all throughout the day, I would love to do that, even if it's a few extra ounces in my pack. But this is the biggest bottle that they make. That's the only drawback. So that's why I'm giving this one 4 stars instead of 5. It did keep water cool. It's just not big enough for all day use. Do you microwave all your leftovers in plastic bowls? Do you chew on your plastic toothpick just so you can taste that plastic in your mouth? Do you prefer hot water in a plastic bottle on a hot summer day? Well, if so, I have the perfect solution for you. Water bladders. I hate them. I hate water bladders. These things are disgusting. They're hard to clean. They're a nuisance. Why haven't we come up with a better system for water? Every drink of water you take on a hot day or even a cold day, doesn't matter, it's gonna taste like plastic.
Okay, that tastes like plastic. Yeah, it does, huh? Yummy.
You just can't get away from it. This last year, I bought my 5th water bladder, and it was just like the previous 4. It was a pain filling it up. It was a pain to clean. It leaked in my pack. Everything tasted like plastic. So yeah, I hate these. 0 out of 5 stars for water bladders. This is the Peaks headlamp. The best headlamp I have ever owned, hands down. So I bought the Peaks headlamp a few months before season started, and I didn't use it a whole lot before season. I bought 2 extra batteries to go with it. The batteries go into the side right here, and I started using it during archery season. I made it all through archery season and through rifle season. And when I went back during late season, I finally changed the original battery. I never charged it one time. I was blown away. I don't know how much juice was left in that battery, but it was not dead when I changed it out. I don't even need those extra batteries. I loved it so much, I went back and bought a second one just for my spare headlamp. A couple years ago, we did a scouting trip where we got to the trailhead at 11 p.m. at night, hiked all night long, and got to our glassing spot at 5 in the morning. And my headlamp gave out about 2/3 of the way through. And in case you're wondering which headlamp that was that I was using, it was this little Petzl right here. It went down to the minimum brightness after about 2.5, 3 hours of hiking, and then it only lasted me another hour or two, and the thing was totally dead. Good equipment is usually born out of necessity that you recognize when you're out in the backcountry, when you're in those situations where you really need something. You're like, oh man, I wish I had this. Well, this headlamp is one of those things. It solves a prevailing problem with headlamps, and that's running time. The only, I would say, kind of drawback to this headlamp is it's heavy. It's a lot heavier than that Petzl because you have this sturdy like aluminum body and you have the weight of the battery on the inside. So it's just going to be a little bit heavier, and you do feel it when it's sitting up on your head. You do feel those extra couple of ounces. That's the only kind of drawback. So I'm giving this a 4.5 stars out of 5 because that extra weight is there. Other than that though, it's an awesome headlamp. I highly recommend it. This last season before my September elk hunt, I went out and bought 5 of these Born and Raised diaphragms. I had never used a Born and Raised diaphragm before, the Born and Raised Call Company, and I was hooked. From the minute I put it in my mouth, every single one that I used was better than any other reed I've used in the past ever, hands down, and I've used a lot of them. I had good success on opening morning. I called in the biggest bull I've ever had an opportunity at in my life with this exact diaphragm right here, the Committed. I bought 3 of them. I don't remember the names of them. The yellow, the black, and the blue, I think. Anyways, I was super impressed with the performance of these diaphragms. They held the elasticity really well, and I had good success calling elk. So I would say 5 out of 5 stars for the Born and Raised Call Company diaphragms. If you're going elk hunting this year, I highly recommend checking them out. All the years that I have spent in the woods, hiking around, sweating with a backpack on, I have cramped for years on end. I've suffered from severe cramps, dealt with cramps. It's hindered my hunts. It's made me stop when other guys would keep going. I've had severe problems with cramps. Now you're probably thinking, well, take some electrolytes. Well, I would take electrolytes in the morning before I'd start hiking, drink them down, start hiking, drink water. Within an hour or two, I was cramping, especially if it was really hot, no matter how much water I drank. In a way, that extra water, all that water you're consuming when you're already dehydrated, isn't helping so much as it's kind of diluting your cells. And you need electrolytes in your system constantly to help your body absorb water and use water the right way. After doing some research, I learned about salt stick chews. I went on Amazon, I bought some. I used them on the first scouting trip that I went on. I was hooked. I went through 3 or 4 bottles of these during the hunting seasons, and I would just pop 2 or 3 of them. It's like a chewable vitamin almost, consistency, good flavor. The tart orange was my favorite. I didn't cramp all season long. No matter what hunt I did, no matter what hike I did, I never cramped one time. I contributed all to taking these. Like I said, I would consistently pound these things 2 or 3 at a time, every 30 minutes to an hour to keep those electrolytes in my system because I sweat so much. Highly recommend these. Total game changer for me. 5 out of 5 stars. Let's talk about tripods. Over the years, I've purchased a lot of tripods. The 3 you see here, the one underneath the camera right now, a few others that I thrown in the trash because they were junk. This year, I went out and I bought myself a new tripod. In my opinion, there is nothing on the market like the Tricer tripod. These guys took tripod engineering and they reinvented the wheel. Absolutely incredible piece of equipment. As a backcountry hunter, the three things I wanted in my tripod was, one, it needed to be light. This thing is so light, it's incredible. 100% carbon fiber, other than the few metal pieces here at the base plate and stuff. Two, it needed to be able to support everything from a set of binos to a heavy spotting scope to a camera, all the above. No problem it does that. And three, it needs to be easy to maneuver. So if I need to pivot quickly and look at a new scene, or if I gotta switch gear quickly to check out an animal that's on the move, I need a tripod that can collapse easily, that can extend easily. You have two adjustment knobs and they're at the top of each leg instead of at the bottom. So when you're adjusting up here at the top, all of your leg length adjustments are right here at hand. It's just a simple thing, but it makes such a massive difference. And this was an awesome bonus for me personally. I'm 6'3", no tripod, no backcountry tripod I've ever used has been able to extend to the point that I can stand up in glass. I always have to sit. I can do it with this tripod. And not only can I stand in glass, it's lighter than any tripod I've ever used. So I get that extra height that I need without having to add weight to my pack. I'm super impressed with this tripod. Tricer seems to be coming out with something new and inventive all the time. Something new I'll be getting before next hunting season is the micro adjust head, where you can roll the knob and the top of the tripod will pivot 5 degrees with each twist of the knob. Super smooth, super steady. It's great for not only glassing, but if you want to film through your binoculars, through your spotting scope, you can get that nice clean movement in your footage instead of it being super shaky by trying to move the adjustment pan bar. Highly recommend. Again, this is another 10 out of 5 product. I will always have one of these in my pack. I don't know about you, but I've never been much of a knife guy. I have a couple of buck knives. I have some old timers from when I was a kid. I've just never invested much thought or energy or money into knives until this last year. I went out and I got myself a Montana Knife Company Jackstone knife. I got to use this knife for the first time on an animal with a really large, probably 300 plus pound black bear. Up until last season, I would use those removable blade knives and I would go through 3 or 4 blades on any given animal. And with a bear, it's even more noticeable going through those blades because you're cutting through thick hide and thick fat. And with this Jackstone, I had to sharpen it maybe 2 times. And that bear took us 4 hours to cut up with 2 people. It was such a big bear with so much fat and thick hide. For the first time in my life, I used what actually is a quality, well-made knife. And I was super impressed by how well this thing holds its edge, its cutting capabilities. I've seen other guys use what they call good knives that after about 30 minutes of cutting it into an animal, it's almost like you're using a butter knife. Not with this knife. These things can be hard to get because the way Montana Knife Company sells them, it's knife drops, so they only make so many, and they'll schedule these knife drops, and you gotta be online, you gotta click buy, you gotta get them. So they are kind of a pain in the butt to get because there's just not an endless supply, but they're all handmade in the United States, and I highly recommend this knife. Super well made, top notch. I'll never go back to using regular knives again. So 10 out of 5 stars. Guess what I did this year? I got myself a new pack. If you've watched the channel for any length of time, you know that we've used KUIU packs for years. And I don't necessarily have complaints about KUIU packs, but there were just some things that I wanted to do better. I wanted my pack to do better. So after a lot of research, I almost bought a Kifaru pack. I think Kifaru makes great packs. I got to try one on at Sheep Show last year. I didn't buy it at the show. They just didn't have the size that I wanted. And I kept hearing stuff about Initial Ascent and all the good things that they were doing and a design that was unique to packs, something different than everybody else in the industry. And so I took a gamble and I bought the pack online. I did the sizing, I bought the pack online, got it in the mail, put it on, and I was hooked. This pack is incredible. What makes it different is this hard shell carbon fiber frame that's not inserted into the pack. It's actually right behind the straps. This thing is so strong, like you can't bend it. This pack is made, it's designed for heavy weight. That's the whole point of this thing. And that's where this thing truly shines. With my KUIU, I would put on a heavy weight on my back and I would feel the whole pack kind of just flexing and moving and grinding, pushing into my hips as I was walking.
Here's Clayton, never to disappoint with his signature hobo camp.
And there were times that we'd get back to the truck and my skin would just be raw from that pack moving around under heavy weight. With the Initial Ascent, total game changer. This carbon fiber frame right here, it disperses the weight from the pack and drives it down to your hip bones and pushes it right up against this pad where it's supposed to be, so it remains super comfortable, but then it doesn't have all that flexing like that KUIU did. I was so impressed with this pack. I put 100-pound concrete bags and walked around, and it was like carrying 65, 70 pounds in my KUIU. Amazing pack, amazing technology. These guys have taken packs to the next level. Now, I'm not familiar with the science behind this thing. I just know that it works. I got the biggest pack they had because I like having more room, especially for camera gear and stuff. The design is simple. You've got one outside zipper. There's not 1,000 pockets to deal with. You've got one outside flexible pocket, your side pockets, and there's a lot of attachments you can add to this thing if you want to add even more storage. Highly recommend this pack. 10 out of 5 stars. Super impressed with it. Now, here's a special bonus for you guys. When I decided to shoot this video, I reached out to the guys at Initial Ascent. I told them that I was going to be shooting this video. I told them I was going to be talking about their pack. And I asked them if they'd be willing to give the viewers, you, a discount code if you want to go buy a pack. And they said, yeah, no problem. This isn't an affiliate marketing thing. We're not getting royalties. This is just strictly a bonus for you, the viewer. Initial Ascent was kind enough to give us a discount code exclusively for you, the viewers of this video on this channel. Your discount code is GrizzlyBro, all one word. Put that code in, you're gonna get a 5% discount. If you're in the market for a pack, if you're thinking about buying a pack, you can't go wrong with the Initial Ascent, especially if you're a backcountry hunter and you plan on packing out an animal of any significant weight, you wanna get into this pack.